If you truly want success, stop letting yourself off the hook. It won't come to those who constantly carve out excuses or dodge the difficult tasks under the guise of taking it easy. Growth is uncomfortable, so is the agony of regret. You must choose your pain, the sharp edge of progress or the dull ache of missed opportunity. No one will rescue you. No one will do the hard work for you. Either you toughen up now or you'll pay the price later. Craving victory means earning it, and that begins with radical accountability. In the next few moments, you're going to discover how to crush every excuse, steel your mind against weakness, and forge unbreakable self-discipline that doesn't flinch when life strikes hard. Stop coddling yourself. Embrace relentless mental strength. Those whose names ring out through history weren't born under privileged stars. They started as ordinary people with nothing but daring dreams. Their triumphs weren't gifts. They were hammered out in fiery adversity. Each legend shared one trait, an unwavering inner fortress that refused to surrender. Consider Thomas Edison. Labeled unteachable by his teachers and haunted by failure, he persevered through thousands of failed experiments until the filament glowed. Edison knew that failure only defeats those who quit. Every setback propelled him closer to his goal. Victory begins in your mind. Doubt, hesitation, and the seductive whisper of comfort are your real enemies. Each time you choose ease over effort, you surrender a sliver of your potential, yet within you lies dormant greatness demanding a toll. Courage, persistence, and a ruthless strength of mind. Financial hardship, personal pain, emotional wounds, these are mere trials designed to test and refine you. Let them temper you, not shatter you. A strong mind conquers all. Great achievers first battled their own inner softness long before they ever changed the world outside. Success isn't a lottery of luck or privilege. It's a painstaking construction built brick by disciplined brick. Your legacy depends on it. First, define your purpose with laser precision. Henry Ford didn't stumble into fame. He engineered it with crystal clear objectives and relentless focus. Vague goals produce vague results. Write down exactly what you want 3 years from now and revisit it daily. Make your vision a guiding star that magnetizes opportunities and mobilizes invisible forces in your favor. Next, cultivate unyielding resilience. Resilience isn't the absence of failure. It's the choice to rise stronger each time you fall. Thomas Edison's legacy illuminates this truth. Failures are stepping stones. When life pushes you into the dirt, use that push to vault yourself higher. Stumble, learn, ascend. Your resilience will become an invisible suit of armor that no crisis can penetrate. Then, embrace fierce self-belief. Believe in your own worth and potential. Abraham Lincoln, beaten by business and personal loss, never let despair extinguish his conviction. He held fast to his vision and rose to lead a nation. When you doubt yourself, invisible walls spring up. Smash them with affirmations. I am capable. I am strong. I am destined for greatness. Speak these truths until your subconscious accepts them as reality. Action is your next weapon. Bold, immediate action separates dreamers from doers. Hesitation is the silent assassin of potential. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Seize the moment of inspiration and run with it. Each decisive move builds momentum, sharpens clarity, and forges new paths where none existed. Fuel all this with burning passion. Passion transforms effort into obsession. When your heart is on fire, obstacles shrink and long hours feel exhilarating. Without passion, even the simplest tasks become torturous chores. Seek what ignites you, then devote yourself to it with every ounce of energy you have. Never stop learning. Complacency is the death of progress. The greatest minds in history, innovators, artists, leaders, were voracious learners. They consumed books, asked questions, and immersed themselves in ideas that challenged and expanded their thinking. Commit to daily growth because what got you here won't get you there. Adaptability follows. The path to success is never straight. It curves, twists, and tests your flexibility. Those who cling rigidly to plans perish when conditions shift. Real strength bends like a tree in a storm, rooted in purpose, fluid in approach. Learn to pivot, to turn setbacks into setups, and to harness change as a catalyst for evolution. Surround yourself with greatness. Success blooms in the right environment. Allies who demand your best, mentors who spur your growth, peers who share your hunger. These are the people who will expose and extinguish your softness. Curate your circle ruthlessly. Remove voices that rationalize excuses. Amplify those that ignite ambition. Your network will reflect your standards. Accept full responsibility. Victimhood is the easiest trap. Excuses are the cheapest comfort. Acknowledge that your choices, your effort, and your mindset alone determine your destiny. Your journey to greatness begins the moment you claim that power. Now is the time to shed softness. Reject hesitation, annihilate excuses, and charge into hardship. Each trial you conquer will sharpen your resolve, harden your mind, and propel you toward your most ambitious goals. Your strength of mind is your greatest asset. Nurture it, unleash it, and let it guide you triumphantly toward the extraordinary life you are meant to create. Every single element of your existence must become an instrument of your ascendancy. Your habits must be engineered with ruthless precision. Morning routines that prime your mind for laser focus, evening rituals that calibrate your body for optimal recovery, and structural anchors throughout each day that eliminate decision fatigue. Start your hours in advance, allotting fixed blocks for your highest leverage activities, learning, strategizing, training, networking, and defend those blocks against any and all intruders. Sleep is not a luxury, but a strategic investment. Guard it jealously to ensure your cognitive horsepower runs at peak capacity. Nutrition is not indulgence, but fuel refinement. Feed yourself only what enhances clarity, energy, and resilience. Physical training is not merely for appearance, but a crucible for willpower. Push your body to its threshold regularly so that hardship elsewhere feels trivial by comparison. Your mindset must be fortified through daily immersion in the philosophies and tactics of those who mastered adversity before you. Carve out time each morning to consume potent mental stimuli, Stoic meditations, tactical treatises, biographies of titans, and integrate their insights into your decision-making algorithms. Develop a mental audit ritual. At midday and at dusk, confront your performance with brutal honesty. What excuses slipped through? Which weaknesses emerged? How can you recalibrate your approach before the next dawn? This relentless feedback loop transforms superficial effort into compounded excellence. Relationships must become strategic alliances. Examine every connection through the lens of mutual growth and accountability. Identify those who propel you toward your goals and those who soften your edges. Expand your network proactively, seeking mentors who have already scaled the peaks you aspire to conquer, peers who challenge your illusions of competence, and protégés who benefit from your hard-won lessons and reciprocate with fresh perspectives. Treat networking not as social nicety, but as forging alliances in the arena of achievement. Every conversation is a potential catalyst. Enter them with clear objectives and exit with actionable intelligence. Your environment must be elevated to an ecosystem of elite performance. Declutter your physical spaces until only the tools essential to your mission remain. Curate an ambience that subconsciously cues focus. Minimalist workstations, high-intensity lighting for productive hours, and calming zones for strategic reflection. Digitally, purge distractions. Block time apps, curated news feeds, and notification blackouts will safeguard your attention. Surround yourself with reminders of your goals, vision boards, milestone trackers, and accountability checklists that glare at you until compliance is automatic. Strategic thinking is your compass in a world of chaos. Develop the habit of scenario planning. Constantly map out best case, worst case, and most likely scenarios for your projects and objectives. Allocate resources not based on optimism, but on probabilistic outcomes. Embrace the concept of strategic asymmetry. Focus your efforts where the ratio of potential gain to required input is maximized. Learn to exploit leverage. Use borrowed capital or strategic partnerships to multiply your impact without proportional resource drains. Treat every setback as an opportunity to refine your strategy, not as a verdict on your worth. Emotional regulation must be elevated from passive skill to active discipline. When stress arrives, you do not react. You deploy pre-planned tactics. Tactical breathing, reframing painful stimuli as growth signals, or reframing failures as free data for deeper calibration. Build an emotional war room within your mind, stocked with mental scripts that you recite to yourself when doubt or anxiety creeps in, reminders of past victories, evidence of your progress, and affirmations of your unbreakable purpose. Your time is your most precious asset. Budget it like capital in an investment portfolio. Identify tasks that yield the highest return on time invested and ruthlessly eliminate or delegate the rest. Practice batching for routine tasks. Group similar activities to minimize context switching and maximize neural efficiency. Automate wherever possible. Use technology to handle repetitive chores so that your sovereignty over time remains inviolable. Continuous self-education is non-negotiable. Establish a learning backlog that spans the skills, concepts, and network contacts you need to command your domain. Tackle daily micro-learning sessions, 30 minutes each for technical mastery, leadership acumen, and emerging trends. Compounded weekly into transformational momentum. Document your discoveries in a personal battle manual, evolving it into a powerful resource that codifies your unique playbook for achievement. Measure everything. Successful individuals quantify progress, performance metrics, health biomarkers, network growth rates, and strategic milestones. Implement a dashboard system that aggregates key performance indicators, updating nightly to reveal trends and anomalies. Let data drive your pivots. When metrics stagnate or reverse, interrogate the causes immediately and iterate your tactics until the trajectory realigns with your vision. Your inner dialogue must be fearless and uncompromising. Monitor every thought for traces of self-doubt, scarcity mindset, or defeatist programming, and strike them down with evidence and resolve. Replace "I'll try" with "I will," "I hope" with "I expect," and "what if I fail" with "what if I succeed" beyond imagination. This linguistic alchemy rewires your neural pathways, making bold action the default response to every call to greatness. Remember that mastery is a marathon requiring periodic resets. Build strategic sabbaticals into your long-term plan. Intervals where you disengage from active projects to reassess, recalibrate, and return with fresh vigor. Use these cycles to realign your mission, purge outdated strategies, and recommit to the ever-evolving vision of your highest self. By weaponizing every habit, resource, and relationship in this manner, you create an impenetrable fortress of progress, one that not only withstands adversity, but thrives on it. This is not a one-time overhaul, but a continuous, unrelenting pursuit. Embrace this doctrine fully and watch as every fragment of your life converges into an unstoppable force, propelling you toward enduring success. Even this fortress of habit, strategy, and discipline only scratches the surface of what is possible when you integrate purpose into every fiber of your being. To achieve the extraordinary, you must treat your life as a high-stakes experiment in relentless refinement. Begin by deconstructing your daily rituals into component parts: energy management, cognitive priming, creative output, and recovery. For each segment, establish measurable benchmarks: reaction times, creative yield, decision accuracy, physiological markers like heart rate variability, and then pursue marginal gains. A 1% improvement in each domain compounds into exponential transformation over weeks and months. Measure your focus by the ratio of uninterrupted work blocks to distractions. Quantify your learning by chapters completed and key insights applied. Track your physical resilience by the speed of your recovery and the intensity of your workouts. Let no moment pass without data to inform your next iteration. Simultaneously, cultivate a zero-excuse mindset in every arena of your life. Language shapes reality. Banish from your vocabulary any concession to comfort. Replace "I can't" with "how can I?" Turn "maybe later" into "what can I do now?" Transform "that's too hard" into "what skill must I develop to master this?" This linguistic shift rewires your brain's reward system so that conquering adversity becomes intrinsically satisfying. When your internal dialogue demands solutions rather than rationalizations, you trigger a cascade of creative problem solving that carves paths where none existed. Weaponize your schedule through the power of micro deadlines. Don't merely set a project deadline weeks away. Break it into bite-sized tasks with hourly or daily checkpoints. a single chapter drafted by noon, a prototype built by 3 p.m., a presentation outline polished by 6 p.m. These micro commitments create a relentless tempo that crushes inertia. When you hold yourself to 15-minute sprints of hyper-focused action, punctuated by brief recovery periods, you harness the same neurological triggers athletes use to maintain peak performance. Your day becomes a sequence of conquered micro-battles, each victory fueling the next. Elevate your strategic acuity by instituting weekly red team sessions with yourself. Play the role of adversary. Scrutinize your plans, poke holes in your assumptions, and simulate worst-case scenarios. This anticipatory defense prepares you mentally and emotionally for unforeseen obstacles, turning potential derailments into mere footnotes. Then, in the same session, switch gears and assume the role of your own coach. Identify your unique strengths, craft counter-tactics, and reinforce unwavering conviction. These alternating mindsets, critic and champion, forge a balanced perspective that combines humility with unshakable confidence. Expand your influence by mastering the subtle art of reverse mentorship. Seek out individuals half a generation or even a decade younger than you who are immersed in emerging technology, cultural shifts, or fresh methodologies. Their insights into nascent trends function as early worming beacons, allowing you to pivot ahead of the curve. In return, offer them your seasoned wisdom and network. This bilateral exchange accelerates your own evolution while cementing you as a node of generational synergy, a multiplier of talent rather than a gatekeeper. Learn to wield your failures as strategic assets. Document each misstep in a dedicated failure ledger that captures context, decision variables, outcomes, and corrective actions. Regularly review this ledger to detect recurring patterns. Are you overanalyzing, under-resourcing, letting pride block collaboration? By treating failure as data rather than disgrace, you accelerate your learning curve and transform every setback into a compass needle pointing toward your highest potential. Guard your mental and emotional terrain with the same vigilance you apply to your physical environment. Social media, news feeds, and idle conversations are sieves through which negative patterns and distractions seep into your psyche. Conduct regular digital triage, purge toxic subscriptions, mute encumbering notifications, and curate a feed of only those voices that enrich, challenge, and elevate. Create a morning intake ritual that features no screens. Instead, immerse yourself in written philosophy, handwritten journaling, or contemplative movement. Ground your mind in intention before it ever meets the outside world's noise. Every relationship you maintain should serve as a strategic accelerant or be jettisoned without remorse. Evaluate your closest contacts according to the principle of impact equity. Does the time and energy you invest in this person yield commensurate returns in insight, accountability, or opportunity? If not, reallocate that time to relationships that do. Form success tribes composed of individuals who mirror your ambition, diversity of expertise, and integrity of purpose. Together, you will form an accountability matrix that propels each member beyond self-imposed ceilings. Envision your ultimate contribution not merely as a personal triumph, but as a beacon for others locked in their own battles against complacency. Chronicle your journey in real time. Share your protocols, your data sets, your philosophical breakthroughs, becoming a living case study in what it means to harness every resource in pursuit of mastery. By externalizing your process, you reinforce your own disciplines, attract collaborators of the highest caliber, and create a legacy that extends far beyond your individual victories. In doing so, you complete the circle. From lone aspirant to generational catalyst, your success becomes both instrument and artifact of the unrelenting doctrine you've committed to live by. This is the apex of personal transformation, the integration of obsession, strategy, and service. It is an unbreakable cycle where every action, insight, and relationship lubricates the gears of your relentless ascent. Embrace this as your operating system, and you will find that what once seemed impossible becomes inevitable. What once required effort morphs into second nature, and your life, structured by these uncompromising precepts, will stand as living proof that true greatness demands nothing less than your total devotion. The journey does not end with the architecture of your own ascent. It extends into the realm of legacy and impact. To fully unlock your potential, you must design not only your success, but also the conduit through which that success transforms others. Begin by formalizing a growth ecosystem that transcends your personal discipline and becomes self-sustaining. Invite promising individuals into your sphere, not as passive recipients of wisdom, but as active co-creators in a dynamic laboratory of excellence. Structure regular mastermind laboratories where problems are presented, hypotheses generated, experiments executed, and results shared. Rotate leadership roles so that every member learns to facilitate, critique, and synthesize, thereby accelerating collective innovation. Parallel to this, develop a legacy roadmap, a strategic outline of the enduring contributions you intend to make in your field or community. Whether it's authoring a seminal work, founding an educational platform, or pioneering a technological breakthrough, chart concrete milestones with clear deliverables, timelines, and evaluation metrics. Break these milestones into cascading sub-projects. Assign accountability partners and hold quarterly impact audits to measure progress, not in personal accolades, but in tangible benefits delivered to others. This orientation toward service transforms ambition into altruism, ensuring that your greatest achievements reverberate far beyond your own walls. Cultivate ritualistic reflection crucibles at the close of each quarter. In solitude, map out victories and setbacks on a structured performance matrix that weighs impact versus effort, satisfaction versus cost, and sustainability versus novelty. From this analysis, extract 3 strategic pivots, specific adjustments to your methodology, network, or resource allocation that will yield the highest marginal gains in the next cycle. By institutionalizing this meta-level review, you convert random successes into systematic progress and ensure that every experience contributes to a compounding trajectory of mastery. Simultaneously refine your capacity for dynamic delegation. As your abilities and burdens grow, perfectionism in every task becomes a bottleneck. Identify core tasks where your unique skill set creates disproportionate value and delegate or automate the remainder. But elevate delegation beyond mere outsourcing. Build in rigorous feedback loops, performance milestones, and empowerment protocols that cultivate excellence in those you lead. When you relinquish sufficient control, you free cognitive bandwidth for high-level strategy, and you forge a network of competent allies who can execute your vision at scale. Invest heavily in cultural architecture within your circles. Every group, be it a project team, partnership, or community you foster, must operate under clearly articulated values, norms, and operating principles. Write a concise manifesto that defines purpose, acceptable behaviors, and decision-making frameworks. Encourage an ethos of radical candor where feedback is direct, timely, and balanced with respect. Embed rituals of recognition and celebration when values are exemplified. This cultural scaffolding transforms disparate individuals into cohesive units capable of tackling challenges far beyond the sum of their parts. On the personal front, deepen your introspective acumen by practicing shadow integration. Every great leader contains hidden impulses, pride, envy, fear, that if unacknowledged can sabotage progress. Bi-weekly, commit to a journaling session that invites your darker drives into the light. Name them, trace their origins, and reframe them as potential sources of energy when channeled constructively. For example, envy, once you recognize its spark, can fuel a constructive benchmark. If they achieved X, what can I learn from their process? This shadow work transforms internal threats into allies in your pursuit of excellence. Enhance your emotional intelligence through empathetic deep dives. Far from being a sign of softness, high EQ grants you the ability to read contexts, adapt communication, and negotiate conflict with finesse. Schedule regular one-on-one strategy conversations with key peers or mentees. Practice active listening. Paraphrase their concerns, validate their emotions, and then guide the dialogue towards solution-focused thinking. Over time, this practice sharpens your capacity to align diverse motivations and build bridges across ideological divides, making you not only a formidable individual, but a unifying leader. Expand your intellectual horizons by embracing interdisciplinary cross-pollination. Deliberately allocate time each month to explore domains tangential to your core expertise, whether it's art, biology, game theory, or ancient languages. The goal isn't superficial dabbling, but deep curiosity, attending workshops, conducting mini research projects, and discussing insights with domain experts. These intellectual incursions spark creative analogies that fuel breakthroughs in your primary pursuits, granting you a cognitive edge that pure specialization cannot match. As you construct this superstructure, remain vigilant against the success plateau. Periodically, your momentum may stall, not due to lack of effort, but due to diminishing returns on established routines. When this happens, introduce cognitive shocks, radical changes to your environment or mindset that jar you out of autopilot. Travel to unfamiliar locales, undertake extreme endurance challenges, or spend a week in silent retreat. These shocks rewire your neural patterns, refresh your perspective, and restore the hunger that fueled your initial rise. Prioritize ethical vetoes. Unchecked ambition can tempt you toward shortcuts that compromise integrity. Define non-negotiable ethical boundaries, deal breakers beyond which you will not venture, regardless of potential gain. Document these in a personal charter and revisit them quarterly. When you hold fast to these convictions, you safeguard not only your reputation, but also the long-term viability of every project you undertake. Integrity is the invisible foundation upon which enduring empires are built. Recognize that the apex of your journey lies in transformational stewardship. True greatness is achieved not solely through personal triumphs, but through the magnification of others' potential. Mentor rising talents, share your battle-tested frameworks through writing or speaking, and invest resources in initiatives that democratize access to the disciplines you've mastered. As you elevate others, you extend your legacy and catalyze a ripple effect of excellence that transcends generations. This is the ultimate continuum of mastery, a cyclical process of self-optimization, strategic alliance building, systemic innovation, and principled stewardship. When every action, habit, and relationship is woven into this grand tapestry, you become not just a formidable individual, but the architect of a movement, one that redefines the boundaries of human potential itself. Embrace this integrative doctrine, and your life will not simply follow a path to success. It will blaze a trail for others to follow, echoing through history as a testament to the relentless pursuit of greatness. As you stand astride the summit of your own forging, consider how to perpetuate this cycle of relentless advancement through intentional, calibrated regeneration. True mastery is neither static nor solitary. It's a living organism that requires continuous inputs of challenge, collaboration, and reflection. To sustain exponential growth, architect a system of regenerative inflection points, deliberate phases where you inject fresh stimuli, reassess core assumptions, and crank your protocols to a higher gear. Schedule a recurring innovation sabbatical every 6 months. During this window, temporarily dismantle your routines, relocate to a radically different environment, adopt an unfamiliar schedule, and tackle projects in a domain you've previously ignored. This strategic disruption interrupts neural habituation, triggering adaptive neuroplasticity that propels your cognitive toolkit into novel configurations. By immersing yourself in uncharted territory, you'll cultivate unexpected connections that reverberate through your primary endeavors, yielding breakthroughs that incremental change alone cannot generate. Elevate your feedback architecture to include external truth partners, people whose sole mission is to reveal your blind spots and accelerate your blind spot free zone. These are not casual acquaintances, but rigorously vetted allies with the expertise and courage to call you out. Establish a triad of such partners, each focused on a different dimension: strategy, execution, and integrity. Convene monthly alignment councils where each partner offers data-driven assessments of your performance, identifies emergent gaps, and co-creates corrective blueprints. This multi-angle scrutiny forges a 360 DG view of your progress, ensuring no vulnerability festers unnoticed. Furthermore, embed anticipatory intelligence into your decision-making matrix. Dedicate a weekly slot to horizon scanning. Systematically review adjacent industries, geopolitical shifts, and technological forecasts to detect weak signals of impending change. Cultivate a personal network of informants, academic researchers, startup founders, policy analysts who supply you with early insights. Synthesize these inputs into a living future state map, updating it with probabilities, potential disruptors, and strategic response options. When the moment arrives to pivot, you will do so with a prescience that leaves competitors scrambling to catch up. Your cultivation of influence must also advance to strategic narrative engineering. Recognize that ideas spread not merely on merit, but on emotional resonance and clarity of framing. Craft a unifying narrative thread that weaves through your public communications, keynote themes, and mentorship conversations. One that distills complex concepts into visceral metaphors and call to action imperatives. Test variations of this narrative in small focus groups. Refine your language to evoke purpose and urgency, and then deploy it across multiple channels. Written essays, podcast appearances, short-form videos. As your story propagates, it magnetizes collaborators who share your vision, accelerates adoption of your methodologies, and cements your role as the vanguard of this transformative movement. Simultaneously, refine your emotional mastery by integrating stress inoculation protocols. It's not enough to confront discomfort. You must methodically expand your threshold for pressure through controlled exposure. Design 3 escalating tiers of stress challenges: physical, cognitive, and social. Physical might involve ultramarathon training or cold water immersion. Cognitive could be solving complex strategic simulations under time constraints. Social might include leading high-stakes negotiations with unfamiliar stakeholders. After each exposure, conduct a debrief that dissects your physiological and psychological responses, isolates limiting beliefs, and scripts new self-reinforcing mantras. Over time, these protocols rewrite your stress response, converting previously debilitating pressure into a reliable source of focused energy. To anchor all of these initiatives, establish a central command journal, a secure digital repository that serves as the single source of truth for your entire operating system. This journal houses every metric, dashboard, every red team analysis, every iteration log, and every strategic pivot note. It's both your historical archive and your projection engine. Structure it with clear categories: habits, metrics, feedback, vision, network experiments, and update it daily with concise entries. Periodically, export and review cumulative insights to detect meta patterns. Which experiments yielded outsized returns? Which relationships plateaued? Which mental models require recalibration? This central command journal not only amplifies your situational awareness, but also preserves your evolving doctrine for eventual handoff to future generations of leaders. Recognize that the ultimate endpoint of your journey is not physical trophies or transient status, but the creation of a self-propagating legacy machine, an enduring framework that outlives your individual capacity. To build this, codify your methodologies into scalable structures, training academies, certification programs, open source repositories, or decentralized communities of practice. Empower promising disciples to carry the torch under a unified banner, granting them autonomy to adapt the doctrine to new contexts while preserving its core principles. Institute governance protocols that balance innovation with fidelity, ensuring the movement remains agile yet coherent. As the network grows, delegate authority and weave in periodic values renewals to realign operations with the founding ethos. In weaving together regenerative inflection points, truth partnerships, anticipatory intelligence, narrative engineering, stress inoculation, and a central command journal, you transform solitary discipline into an ecosystem of perpetual evolution. This is the apex of self-mastery, a living, adaptive organism that continuously refines itself, multiplies its influence, and secures its legacy in both minds and institutions. Embrace this paradigm fully, and your life's work will not simply mark an era, it will ignite a movement whose reverberations shape futures for generations to come.